Right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we're working on the Hudson today. We aired up the tire, put the battery on it, we got it moved around, cleaned the slab off, fixed a spot for it back in the work area, put it there. But right now we're chasing shade. It's hot, 90 degrees. So anyhow, we got it up here by the house in the shade, and we're going to look at the wiring for it. So let's take a look at that. Alright, this is a 8 circuit hot rod wiring harness from eBay. It's nothing special. It's just an 8 circuit because for this car that's all we need. We really don't have anything electronic on it. We have an electric fan, an alternator. That's all the electronics it runs. We'll need lights. Got a wire tag light, tail lights. We're running a mechanical pump, so we don't even have an electric fuel pump. We need lights for our gauges, and we'll need dash lights when I get the dash panel put back in it. Hey, what are you doing? You're burying that corn cob? You're crazy. Anyway, this is pretty straightforward. So it says what everything is. We won't use turn signals because this car is not equipped with turn signals. Well, it says on here what everything is. Each individual wire is labeled. So that shouldn't be too bad. Anyway, so we're going to work on cleaning some of this wiring up. What we have here is a P10SI Delco alternator 2-wire connector plug. And this right here will make wiring your GM alternator really simple. If you get one of these, which you can make one yourself. I just got mine. So I didn't want to try to gather up the stuff to make it. So what this does right here, see this here? This will keep it from back feeding. So it's very simple to hook up. This will plug in on your alternator. Just like that. The red wire will bolt here. And then this right here will run to your key switch, and it'll go to your start side. So when you turn the key over and hit the start, the same one that runs your starter will run this, or you can run this over to your starter and it'll work also. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alright, so the first step in installing a cheap eBay wiring harness is figuring out where you want your cheap eBay wiring harness. Okay. You want to put this thing accessible. Now, a lot of people like to tuck all their wiring away and hide it, and that looks really nice. But on a project of this standards, I don't really think that that's necessary. So I'm thinking probably along the lines right here. Looks like a nice place for it. It's accessible. I can get to it. I can run what wires I need inside the car right here. I've got the factory grommet that goes here to cover that up, and that should be okay. So yeah. Alright, now that you got it where you want it, next step is to cut it apart and start sorting everything out. Once you have it separated, figure out what goes where. You can take what you need inside the car and go ahead and go inside the car with it. Alright, so our alternator is wired up. Okay, just like I showed you. Red wire bolts here. This is your main hot wire from your battery or starter, positive side of your starter or solenoid, whatever you're running. This wire is ran to my ignition side of my key switch. So I've got this toggle wired up from my coil. Yeah, I've got the toggle wired up for my coil. So it's charging. Alright, now back to our wiring harness. It's right here. Accessory. Come on, camera, focus. Battery. Okay. Look on your key switch. Accessory. Battery. And that's gonna fire your ignition, or that's gonna fire your fuse box. That's gonna put fire to your fuse box. Alright, we've got our main wires coming from our fuse box, our accessory, and our battery wire. And I've got them ran down to the key switch, accessory, battery. And what I done is I took my ignition, I took my coil off of this toggle switch because I want to remove this completely out of the car. I took my coil off the toggle switch and I wired it to the ignition switch on the ignition side along with our white alternator wire. Now we just have to start running these wires wherever we want to run them. But we have power to our box now. Got power to our box, and we got to start wiring our fan and our lights. So it's getting late. The sun's sinking. The day's almost done. So I'm gonna pick up shop, and we'll start back here tomorrow. Alrighty, we're back at it. So today we're wiring up our fan. Been at this will be the third day, but we've only worked on it a couple hours today. So we really don't have a lot of time in it right now, but let's look at what we're doing. So we're wiring up our fan relay again. We had it wired up before, but we're changing it around. Now we've got it grounded. Okay. So we're running ground wire to that, and then we'll just wire it up to the temperature switch. There. And then to our fan. That's what we're working on at the moment. On these fan relays, I've got it just kind of wired up to show you. So these are all numbered. I'm gonna pull it apart with one hand. Okay. Now, $85 is your ground. It goes to here, and then another one coming off of that one going to your temperature switch. All right. 30 is your power wire. It goes directly to a 12-volt constant source. I stuck it in here for now because that's a constant port on the fuse box. $86, the blue one, goes to your fan. And then you'll have another ground from your fan to whatever you want to ground it to. The alternator, the engine, whatever. Blue to blue. So 86 goes to your fan. And that's the basics of it. This one right here actually I messed up. 87. I'm sorry. 87 goes to your fan. 86 goes to your ignition switch to be switched on and off. We ran it to the wiper wire right there for now because that's hot when you turn the key on. So yeah, that's the basics of that. 87 fan, 86 ignition, 85 ground, 30 goes to constant hot. Alright, we got that wired up. The fan's working. It's doing what it should do. Everything's working right. So we sorted out a whole bunch of stuff over the last 3 days and got a bunch of work done. And so on these little eBay wiring harnesses, they're relatively simple to put in. Your average car builder could, put it in no time. I probably could have done it all in one day or a few hours because I really only got about 4 or 5 hours into this, so it's not too big of a deal. Everything's labeled and straightforward. You just have to route it. That's what takes the longest, routing it to where you want it. And we're completely wiring this car. So all we like is the headlights and the tail lights and brake lights. The wires are ran to where the switches are going to be for the brake lights and the headlights. So once I get those in, I've ordered a brake light switch and a headlights or dimmer switch. Once those come in, then we'll be able to put them in and just run the wires from there, and everything should be a go. Other than that, we've got everything working right. The wiring's in. It doesn't look too bad. Let's take a look at it. We got to tidy up in here, tie some stuff up. These are the wires that'll be used. That's actually dash lights. Got to wire them. Then that's the ground for our dimmer switch. That'll go to our brakes. And that is hazard lights, which we don't have, so we probably won't be using that. Now on the up note, it looks a little shabby right now. I mean, everything needs bundled up and wrapped and tied over here on the fender, but I'm waiting until I run them headlight wires, because they come out of here and go down the fender, and then another set goes over to the other headlight, and then I'll have to wrap all that up. So I'm just waiting on that. And then I've got this factory grommet that goes in here. I've got to modify it a little bit to fit that bundle of wires, but that's what it looks like. It's not horrible. That's my test light in the way. If you look at it on the firewall, it's not horrible. It don't look too bad. I'm still going to go back and pinstripe this firewall. Yeah, there it is. I mean, 4 or 5 hours spent putting it in there. It's not too bad. It's pretty easy. So, hey, if y'all like what we're working on, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and following along. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if you're working on a wiring harness and you can pick up a few things, maybe it'll help you. And we'll see you back here next time.